We're going to talk through how to register on the provider site as well as how to search for candidates. So jumping straight into the joinsocialcare.co.uk website, we've landed on the provider part of the site where we can look for a professional care worker. You'll notice that the entire page here is tailored towards finding a candidate rather than applying for a position. So we're going to go ahead and get started. So the first thing to note is when we try to register here, we're actually told that we need to be recognised by the CQC to use the service. So if I used an address that wasn't registered with the CQC, I should get an error message just telling me that actually we weren't able to complete the registration, and the reason for this was that we couldn't be confirmed against the CQC, and that we would need to contact them directly using this link to gain access. For the purpose of this demo, we're actually going to log in with a provider who is already registered and definitely on the CQC provider list. So now, great, we're now logged in and we can see that we've landed on a page which is effectively a search results page. So within this, we can change the number of miles that we wish to search from. You'll note that when we registered, we actually didn't give a postcode, and yet a postcode is here. That's because we actually register a candidate against the registered location of that branch via the CQC list, and therefore we derive that postcode so that an individual can only search within the geographical area of the branch. You can search between 3 and 30 miles of a branch. In this case, let's go with 30 miles. The other thing you'll note is when I hit update results, you'll notice how quickly the results actually change. That's because we're using a search technology behind the scenes, which effectively allows us to massively scale the infrastructure and retains the speed for the user so they can really get to the results that they need really well. But also we know that as the site continues to expand, we're not going to see a huge slowdown with people using the site. Other filters that are available at the moment are filtering on whether or not a candidate has experience, and again you can see that quickly changed, and also as to whether or not they have a driving license. So 17 candidates have a driving license. In the future we'd like to expand out the filters to add more functionality. We already have a couple of pieces in the works around looking at filtering on types of care, for instance, so we hopefully will have them coming soon. So now if we look at this candidate here, this is the newly registered candidate that I registered a moment ago. We can click on the candidate and we can see that the video is available to us, the details around the candidate are available. However, this candidate has not started his DBS check. So to do so, I need to verify that I've watched the video, and I need to confirm that I've actually seen the identity documents. Once I've done that, the candidate is then marked as in progress. The other thing I can do is I can shortlist the candidate either from the search results or from the profile itself. So if I hit shortlist, I can see that candidate's shortlisted, but I can also click on my shortlist here and I can see all the candidates that I've previously shortlisted, including this candidate. If I go to another candidate who is already in progress, I can see that this candidate was marked as progress by a different provider, and that they will be available to me as well as the other provider once their DBS check is completed. At the same time, once the DBS check is completed, the candidate also has the ability to start their training, so can continue that journey as it would exist. Now finally, once a candidate has completed their DBS check, so here I can see that all these two candidates are currently in progress and this one is yet to start their actual DBS. Although I've marked it as DBS, the candidate hasn't actually started it. But once this has happened, we can actually view the candidate's contact details. So the end of the journey is really for a candidate to complete their training and their DBS, at which point the contact details are made available to all of the providers via this portal. The candidate is informed of everything happening via email, so as soon as we kicked off that DBS check, the candidate would have received an email to let them know that the process has started and that it's their responsibility to then complete those details. I think a final note on the remainder of the platform, we haven't discussed a couple of areas. So we have also built in the ability for the CQC list to be updated on a regular basis, which basically means that every time the CQC gives us a new list, we can suspend users whose email addresses have changed. So if a register manager leaves, we can suspend that account. Or if a new registered manager is in place, we can then allow them access into the site. We also have built a special and separate login for training providers so that they can download the list of candidates that require training and upload them into their own systems. And then also the functionality for them to come back and upload the responses into our system. We're working with Skills for Care around this so that they'll be managing the training processes and monitoring the different providers offering training on the platform.